Did the failure to treat fetal distress cause your baby's birth injury? Want to know what I'm getting at here? Stay with me as I share with you this very important information. Hello, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm a childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorney practicing law here in the state of Maryland, and I would like to quickly talk with you today about some really important information. And that information deals with fetal distress and why it is very important for doctors to properly diagnose it and treat it. Because if they do not properly diagnose and treat fetal distress, it can lead to a brain injury. All right, so let me step back and let me explain to you one way in which a baby can suffer from fetal distress. And this is one of the most classic calls that we get into my office. And what it is, it deals with a mother who will show up to the delivery room, and when she shows up to the hospital and everything, when the mother's water breaks, there is meconium present in the water. Now, if you watch some of my other videos, you know that meconium is essentially the baby's stool. And when you have meconium coupled with other factors, for example, on the electronic fetal heart monitor, and what this is it is a very important tool that is used to help doctors and nurses determine how well a baby is tolerating a vaginal delivery. So if we have meconium present and we have the electronic fetal heart monitor displaying certain things, for example, minimal variability, or it shows that the baby's heart rate is more than, let's say, 160 beats per minute, which is, if that goes on for a considerable amount of time, that's tachycardia. If it shows, for example, that the baby's heart rate is, let's say, lower than 100 beats per minute, that's bradycardia. So if we have tachycardia going on, or bradycardia, we've got minimal variability, or we've got late decelerations, all of these things being shown up on the electronic fetal heart monitor. If this is what's going on, coupled with meconium, then that could be a very strong indication that the baby is in what we call fetal distress. Now, for the purpose of tonight's video, when I use that term fetal distress, what I'm talking about is that the baby is not tolerating that vaginal delivery. So if you've got all of these things going on, and the doctors and the nurses, they are failing to treat it, or they're failing to diagnose it, and they're failing to treat the fetal distress, then what can happen is the baby can eventually suffer an injury to the brain. That fetal distress, when all of that is going on, you have to be on the lookout for things like perfusion issues. In other words, a reduced level of blood and oxygen getting to the baby. And when that occurs, then you can have that brain injury. Now, for treatment of fetal distress, there are things that the doctors and nurses, they can do. They can give the mother oxygen, for example. They can move mother around. They can give a bolus. There's options that the doctors and nurses can do to help treat that. And if some of the conservative measures, which is what I just named earlier, if those things are not working, then doctors and nurses have to be ready to move to an emergency C-section when warranted. So why am I talking with you tonight about this really important information? Because if you're watching this video, more than likely your baby was in distress, and you have questions about what's going on. You're wondering, did the doctors properly diagnose it, and did the doctors properly treat? Should they have moved to an emergency C-section to help your baby out? If you have all of this going on and you're concerned about the challenges that your baby is going to meet going into the future, this is what I invite you to do. And remember, taking this next step costs you absolutely nothing. And what is that? To pick up the phone and give me a call. I can be reached at 301-850-4832. Or if you prefer, you can send me an email to medicalinjury@bostonlawllc.com. You can visit my website at bostonlawllc.com. And while you're on the website, before you leave, be sure to download that free e-copy of a birth injury book that we have explaining more information about this process here in the state of Maryland. In addition, lastly, you can also reach me toll free at 833-4BABY-HELP. So there's lots of ways in which you can reach out and you can contact us. All right, that's going to be it for tonight's short educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys here at Boston Law Group, LLC, and we will see you next time. Take care and enjoy the rest of your night.